Before we get into the video, I need you guys to do me a favour. Number 1, like the video. Also comment, let me know your thoughts on the story. Now, notorious gorbals gangster Jimmy Boyle was one of the few high profile gangsters that managed to change their life around, which was a near impossible feat. After feeling set up, as the M weapon that was used to murder William Babs Rooney was found in Jimmy's flat. Now, Jimmy advised later on that it was his best friend that had caged the small-time gangster. Now, Jimmy had spent much of his life as an enforcer, gang leader, crime boss and hitman. By his 20s, Jimmy Boyle had been charged with 3 separate murders. Now think about this, Jimmy had spent 15 years in some of Scotland's toughest jails, including Barlinne, Peterhead and Inverness on 4 different spells, dealing with the likes of notorious gangster Gary Moore, and even being put in straitjackets while being struck with batons. However, it's a tragedy to say for all of Jimmy Boyle's success later on in his life, his son James Boyle could not do the same. Now, James Boyle Jr. was also known as Jammer and was a known addict. He had become addicted to hard drugs from a young age, 17 years old, and his gear of choice was H. In order to feed his crippling addiction, the younger Boyle's man had become involved in robbery. He was taking and robbing everyone. It was also alleged on a separate occasion he had actually robbed an old lady. Now, according to Jimmy says that he would often sit by the phone and wait for it to ring, the person on the other end of the phone telling him, "Jimmy, your son has been caged." On the 14th of May of 1994, Jammer Boyle, James, had been on leave from prison for the weekend. He had been jailed for 4 years for robbery. Now, the 27-year-old had allegedly got into an argument over a woman and drugs while in a tenement block in the Oatlands area of the city at 9:20 p.m. Now, the worst person that you could run into would be notorious gangster Gary Moore. However, James did, and the two had an argument. It was alleged that notorious gangster Gary Moore, who had also been a part of the ice cream wars, had armed himself with a potato blade and then stabbed James Boyle in the chest. James was taken to hospital, but sadly he was pronounced dead a short time later. That same year, Jimmy decided to help addicts struggling to cope with their addiction, and of course, that would be an homage to his son's life and legacy. Stay safe.